Welcome to The Explainer, where we do our best to break down some really big topics into something a little more digestible.
So today, we're jumping into a huge one, climate change. And just so you know, all this comes from part 16 of the 20-part series, An Introduction to Earth Sciences for Everyone.
Well, let's just get right into it with this quote, because it really says it all. We're not talking about some distant, far-off idea anymore. This is happening right now. It's the reality we're living in.
So, when we say climate change, what's the core problem we're really talking about? Well, believe it or not, it all starts with a single number.
And here it is. This is the number that kicks off the whole conversation. The scientific evidence is overwhelming. Our planet's average surface temperature has gone up by about 1.1 degrees Celsius. Now, that might not sound like a lot, right? I mean, the weather where you live swings way more than that in a day. But for the entire planet's average, that's like giving Earth a pretty significant fever. And the data shows this fever is getting worse, faster.
Okay, so the planet has a fever. But why? Well, what's so fascinating here is that the science behind it is actually incredibly clear. Let's take a look at the mechanism that's driving all this warming. It all comes down to something called the enhanced greenhouse effect. Think about it like this. Our atmosphere naturally works like a thermal blanket, trapping some of the sun's heat to keep Earth warm and livable. That's a good thing. But because of human activities, we're adding extra greenhouse gases to the air. We're essentially thickening that blanket, causing it to trap way more heat than it should.
And wow, does this slide put it into perspective? Just look at these numbers. For hundreds of thousands of years before the Industrial Revolution, the amount of carbon dioxide in the air was stable, right around 280 parts per million. But today, we've shot past 420, and that number is still climbing.
I really want you to let that sink in for a second. We're not talking about thousands of years or even hundreds of thousands. We're talking about the highest CO2 levels in at least 3 million years. It's just staggering. And the reason we know this is thanks to incredible science, like drilling deep into Antarctic ice sheets and analyzing tiny air bubbles trapped for eons. This isn't just a little blip on the radar. It's a massive, massive shift happening at a speed our planet has probably never seen before.
So, we've talked about the temperature, we've talked about the CO2, but this isn't all just abstract data on a chart. You can actually see the effects of this change happening all over the world. Let's look at the evidence.
Yeah, the proof isn't hiding in some complex computer model. It's right there in front of us. I mean, the last decade, it was the hottest ever recorded. We're watching Arctic sea ice shrink dramatically year after year. And it's not just at the poles. Glaciers are in retreat on every single continent.
And, when we talk about rising sea levels, most people just think about melting ice. And yes, that is a huge part of it, but there's another giant factor at play, thermal expansion. It's really simple physics. When you heat up water, it expands. So when you heat up our vast oceans, well, they expand too. And that expansion alone accounts for a huge chunk of the sea level rise we're observing.
And the impacts just keep going. Our oceans are also acting like a giant sponge, soaking up about a quarter of that extra CO2, which is actually changing their chemistry, making them more acidic. That's really bad news for marine life, especially coral reefs. And back on land, all that extra heat and energy in the atmosphere is supercharging our weather patterns, leading to more frequent and more intense heat waves, droughts, and powerful storms.
Okay, so that's the diagnosis. The big question now is, what does this all mean for us, and what does the science say about the path forward?
Now, here's something that's absolutely critical to understand. This challenge doesn't affect everyone equally. The impacts are spread out really unevenly across the planet, and that's a key part of understanding the whole picture.
So who's most at risk? Well, it's often the communities with the fewest resources to adapt. We're talking about people in low-lying coastal areas, arid regions already struggling with water, and communities whose entire way of life is tied directly to the natural systems that are now being thrown off balance.
And this is exactly where a field like earth science becomes so incredibly important. You can't solve a problem until you truly understand it, right? Earth science gives us the tools to measure the changes, to understand these complex systems, and to model what the future might look like. It's the essential first step to developing any effective solution.
And based on that science, here are the big levers we can pull. These are the major pathways forward. We're talking about a massive global transition to renewable energy, becoming way more efficient with the energy we do use, protecting natural carbon sponges like forests, and even developing new technologies that could pull carbon right out of the atmosphere.
So we end on this question. The science is clear. The data is in. Earth science has given us the diagnosis, and it's pointing us toward the treatments. The ultimate question that remains isn't really about the science itself anymore, but about how we, as a global society, choose to use that knowledge to shape our future.